Hello everyone, welcome once again to another Looker Studio related tutorial by Team Slidescope. In this part, we are learning about some time intelligence basics in Looker Studio. So in the previous part, we created a simple summary dashboard on the sales Superstore sales dataset where you learned how to create this in Looker Studio. Now for time intelligence, we have taken some basic KPIs, and as you can see, you are seeing some arrows here, and some arrows are going upwards and some are going down. So this is order count. Order count is 48. This is for the period January 1, 2016 to January 31, 2016, and minus 70.2% is as compared to previous period. 65.5% up is as compared to same period last year. So what is the difference between same period last year, previous period, and how can we compare values that with a fixed range, previous period range, previous year range? What is the equivalent of same period last year as it is in other tools like Power BI is something that we are going to learn here. So this is very important and very easy to learn. Let's get started. Hello everyone. Welcome once again to another tutorial of Looker Studio. In the first part, we tried to create a simple sales dashboard where we created different type of charts and a simple dashboard explaining segment wise total sales, subcategory wise sales, etc. So if you haven't watched that first part, I will request you to go and watch that so that you know you will be prepared with this data set, which is sample superstore data set, and this is basically the data set. So this data set has various versions. So only order date changes, column and everything remains the same. So here we have the summary dashboard, so we will rename it as summary dashboard. Now since we are talking about time intelligence, so we will create another page, and that for that page we will use time intelligence as our name. In time intelligence, basically what we have to do is we have to consider things like same period last year, preceding period data. Like suppose you are seeing data of September, so September 2024, so same period last year will mean like that you have to see data of September 2023. So this is something you have to do. So before starting that, I will simply add a chart, and in that chart I will add a table just to understand uh, or just to know what dates do we actually have here. So we will use DT order date. So if you remember in our previous case, once we loaded the date, this date parameter was causing some issues. So that's why we created a calculated field here. Okay. So we created DT order date using the parse date function where we use DMY format. So if you are receiving any kind of error, make sure that you have passed your date properly in Looker Studio. Sometimes there is a problem. So you can see we have data from 2017. So we have data from 2014 to 2017. Okay, so that's it. That's what I wanted to know. Now we have some KPIs. So for example, from here we can add this chart which is showing us the record count 9994 records. Instead of record count, I will select sales. We actually created these visuals in previous example also. So these are the KPIs that we created actually. So if you want, we can copy these KPIs here as well. So let me copy them one by one, or I will copy one of them and then I will work. So here you can see we disable the title. So this is basically showing order ID. Okay, instead of order ID, this is basically order count. So this is orders count. So we can show title like this. From here we can select its alignment. Everything related to design is available here, like what should be its background, what should be its border color, everything. So this is orders count basically. Okay, now suppose we are seeing order count, and here when you will go, you will see in your data set, you will see date, range, dimension, and comparison type. These type of options will be there. Okay, so now we actually have to select a filter. So before that we'll select dimension, and we'll select tt order date. Now once this dimension is loaded, we will now you can see default date range filter, and in your default date range filter I'm going to apply a custom filter. As I said, we have dates from 2014 to 17. So I will select 2015 for example, and let's select January 2015. Okay, or February 2015, whatever we want to select, and I will select 1 February. And similarly here also I will select the same thing. So I will select from February 2015 to February 28, 2015. So I'm basically selecting data of February 2015, and I'm clicking apply. Okay, so you can see number 36 orders were there. And comparison period, now you will have an option of comparison date range, from where you can now select this. And when you will go to this filter, so you will see a fixed, like you want to compare it with some fixed value, like you want to compare February 2015 with December 2017. That can be there, or you can select previous period and previous year. Okay, so if you will select previous year, you can see it is already selecting 2014 to 2018 previous year, eh, because we selected 2015, and when it will select, it is going to show this value, although because of that background color we are not able to see that value. So positive change color, let's select as a very light green, and negative change color we'll select as a very light red. So if it is positive, it is going to display it like this, and if it is negative, it is going to display it with a downward arrow. Then here you can see positive change color, automatic decimal places are there, font sizes are there. Let's say we want to select 48 as our font size, because now we have two visuals. So this is showing that compared to previous period, previous year, it is 28.6% up. Okay, this is what it is showing us. If we go to setup, and if I select auto date range, so you can see in comparison date range we have nothing. So we can select previous year or something like that, we can apply. It's not going to show something because we have everything. Now if I add a filter, for example if I add a control, and from here I add a date range control. In date range control I go and select, let's select like this. So if I select 2016, okay, so I select from 1 January 2016, then I select once again 2016 or 20 yeah 2016 and December or 31 December. So when I'll select this, so now you can see I actually have a date range, and for this date range number of orders are 1315, and they are 26.7% more than the previous period. Okay, so this is what it is showing, previous year, same period last year. Similarly, if I select previous period, so again it is going to select that because we have actually selected 1 year of data. But if I select from January 1 to, let's say, I select January 31, something like that. So now it will change that in this period we have received 48 orders. Okay, and this is showing if you compare it with previous period. So here it is previous year. Let's go to previous period and apply, and now you are going to see for previous period data. From previous period this is 70% less. So I'm going to create another copy of it, and here I'm going to select a fixed value just to compare. So here, not auto, I'm going to select custom. So for example, here we have selected January 1 to January 31. Okay, and here we are going to select December 15 to December 50, like entire December 50. So you have 161 records here. Okay, and here you have 40 records. So if you do a simple math, 48 minus 161 divided by 161 minus 70.18, I think that's what we are seeing. So something like that. So this is previous period. Okay, so this is order count previous period. So whatever you want to select, you can set it here, and then you can start creating your visuals. So let's say we created a KPI order count, we create another KPI, and here we are going to select sales value, total sales, whatever it is. And actually this is a big number, so we want to display it in a compact format. So just enable compact numbers here. So, and instead of order count as title, this is total sales. So you can see everything is going down. Similarly, if we copy this, first of all, this is total sales. Let's select total profit, and we have to change the measure from here. Profit has also gone down. Number of customers who ordered. So we will select customer ID and count distinct. So this is also going down. So here we can see in a style, we can write num customers. And actually this is how you can see year over year sales data, month over month sales data, same period last year or preceding period. These type of things can be done easily. And finally I am going to use total quantity. So you can see once we create, and then we can simply copy, apply the same styling. Here we can go and enable border shadow just to give some kind of shadow width here. For your shadow border color, let's select a white type of color, and actually I'm going to design it later. So these are the KPIs compared to previous period, and we are seeing some Looker Studio Time Intelligence basics. Similarly, if you want to see these KPIs compared to same period last year, so you can select and you can actually show the data. So in your setup, you can instead of previous period, you can select previous year and apply. So as compared to previous year, it has gone up. Okay, so basically here is what each options means in comparison menu. Fixed, manually pick a specific date range to compare against. Previous period, compare your selected date range with the immediately previous period. Like if June 1 to 15 is selected, previous period will be May 17 to 31. So you have to understand that 15 days here and 15 days before. Previous year, this is what you are looking for, because I questioned same period last year, If your current date range is June 1 to 5/25, this compares with June 1 to 5/24. So this is Looker Studio's equivalent of Power BI's same period last year, but works in scorecards, shows percentage change automatically. Important thing is the date field must be a valid date type, not a string or malformed date. So whenever you are working with Looker, make sure of that. So this is something that we can do. So there you can see I'm just showing this because some students asked us what is the same period last year equivalent of Looker Studio, like what is the same way of finding something in Looker Studio. So KPIs compared to same period last year. So this is something that we have learned so far, and try this at your end, and if you have any questions, please let us know. And please watch our previous videos to understand more about this data set. We will come with more Looker Studio related tutorials in our next chapter.